Thank you, Chairman Brown, Ranking Member Toomey. Thank you. Secretary Fudge, Secretary Buttigieg, thank you for being here today. I appreciate that. I'd like to turn to my home state if I could, Tennessee. We have some of the best roads and bridges in America in Tennessee. We're also physically well-managed states. In fact, we're one of the few states that actually finance our transportation projects without using debt financing. We pay as we go on this. But I think, and Secretary Buttigieg, you're very well aware of this, that our Interstate 40 bridge that connects Tennessee and Arkansas across the Mississippi River 9 days ago, it was discovered it has a severe fracture in the structural frame, the support girders for that bridge. I've been in touch with state and local officials, with the Tennessee Department of Transportation, with barge operators in the private sector. My team has been working with the Coast Guard, who have jurisdiction over the Mississippi River. And again, the Mississippi is Middle America's superhighway for transportation and commerce. And on Saturday, I sent a letter to President Biden about the crisis and copied you, Secretary Buttigieg. And I want to thank you, because as a result of that letter, I saw that this morning that the Federal Highway Administration is sending a team to Memphis post haste. I applaud you for making this a top priority, Secretary Buttigieg. The crisis has delayed fuel supplies, it's delayed agricultural products, many critical commodities that reach markets through the Mississippi River. It's also created tremendous delays in traffic. This is affecting real people, their livelihoods, their ability to get to where they need to go. It's impacting commerce at so many levels. So I want to thank you for the effort that you put in, the responsiveness to my letter and to our conversation, Secretary Buttigieg, to prioritize this for your department. And I look forward to continuing to work with your department to make sure that the situation in Memphis and Arkansas is resolved as quickly as possible. I hope that the administration and my Democrat colleagues are serious about working in a bipartisan way to solve our infrastructure problems. The I-40 bridge that we're talking about here isn't the only problem, and this bridge shouldn't require legislation or time-consuming debate about whether government nanny care is infrastructure or not. Longer term, investment in real infrastructure in our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, waterways, ports, rail, broadband, our power grid and pipes is needed. But to pay for it by raising taxes on American workers and job creators, just as we're poised to emerge from a pandemic-driven recession, is the opposite of what we need. We should be incentivizing hundreds of billions of dollars in private capital to get off the sidelines. And we need to be reducing bureaucratic paperwork, ridiculous regulatory costs, and unnecessary delays. And we've got to ensure that anything we do reaches all the way to the most rural areas of our country, like in my home state of Tennessee. Secretary Buttigieg, I'd like to turn my first question to you. You've had past private sector experience as a management consultant. I'm sure that you looked at ways with your clients to improve operations. I'm sure you looked at private financing too, and perhaps ways to incentivize private capital. And you have within your domain at the Department of Transportation, you have the Build America Bureau. The Build America Bureau's mission encompasses private activity bonds, the Transportation Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act, the Railroad Rehabilitation and Improvement Financing Administration, among other programs. And as we look at infrastructure and think about infrastructure going forward, Secretary, I wanted to get your comments and thoughts on the types of process improvements, the types of bureaucratic regulatory changes that could be made that could help accelerate investment in infrastructure for us.
Well, thank you, Senator. And first of all, let me just state my appreciation for the collaboration and involvement with your office and others in dealing with the I-40 bridge matter. To get to your question, we do believe there are a lot of opportunities for us to get more bang for a taxpayer buck through process improvements, something I encountered even as a mayor, seeing all of the steps involved in permitting, and have challenged our team to identify ways that we can find where there may be duplication or there might be a way to meet the intent of the law with fewer steps or a simpler and more predictable process. I also appreciate your mentioning private activity bonds. One example, along with some of the others you mentioned, where we do see ways to mobilize private capital. And it's a popular program. Matter of fact, I think we're just about at our congressionally authorized cap right now. And while it's more appropriate to some uses than others, since of course many of these financing options really expect or require that there be an associated revenue stream. We do think there's a lot more potential here and would welcome opportunities to work with you on building that out, building on successes like the Build America Bureau here at the department.
I'll look forward to working on that with you and your team, Secretary. Thank you.